Why do so many podcasts fail? There are over 4 million podcasts out there, but only about 118,100 active podcasts around. Why is that? There are many reasons why podcasts may fail. Here are a few potential reasons. Lack of focus or clear direction. Without a clear focus or direction, it can be difficult for a podcast to build a dedicated audience. Poor production quality. Poor audio quality, lack of editing, or unprofessional presentation can turn listeners off. Inaccurate or misleading content. Factually inaccurate or misleading content can erode trust and cause listeners to lose interest. Lack of promotion. Without proper promotion, it can be difficult for a podcast to attract new listeners and grow its audience. Competition. There are many podcasts available, and competition for listeners can be fierce. It can be difficult for a new podcast to stand out and attract a large audience. Burnout. Creating a podcast can be time-consuming and demanding, and it's not uncommon for podcasters to burn out and lose motivation after a while. Lack of monetization. Many podcasts struggle to monetize their content, which can make it difficult to sustain the show over the long term. In my personal experience, podcasters fail because they are overwhelmed by the amount of work it takes to produce their podcast. The general conception is to just grab a microphone and start talking and boom, you're famous. It doesn't work that way. There are so many elements that come into play when producing a podcast. Such as, buying expensive equipment, recording your podcast, editing your podcast, distributing your podcast to all the outlets, and how to successfully market your podcast. This causes new podcasters to abandon their show shortly after they launch. Well, with the Podcast Doctor you won't have to worry about that any longer. If you're interested in having a one-on-one consultation to discuss every aspect of your podcast from inception to launch, schedule the one-on-one with Podcast Expert. If you are wanting to know how the Podcast Doctor can help you escape podcast purgatory by doing all of the heavy lifting, select the free consultation. Subscribe for more tips.